Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us here on the show. Today, we have a very, very special guest who has made incredible waves as an influencer in the technology space, has come from nowhere and has grown a massive, massive, massive community online. As I'm looking at some of his numbers, these will absolutely blow you away, I hope, as they have done for me. We start by looking at Instagram, over 100,000 followers following his every move. We've also got another channel, personal channel there with over 12,000 followers. We've got 2,500 on LinkedIn in a business space. We've got 21,000 followers on YouTube. And the big one, of course, a private community where all the education is shared with over 35,000 members in a school community. He is none other than the founder of the Automation Academy and has come from an incredible background, Bachelor of Commerce in Ecom, focusing on incredible things such as finance, digital innovation. He's worked with blockchain organizations, the Students Association. He's worked with Make-A-Wish, incredible organizations such as that. Based in Canada, he is none other than Hamza Baig. Hamza, thank you so much for jumping on with us and sharing your wisdom, man. I can't wait to dive in with you.
Absolutely. Thank you for that amazing introduction. Super excited to be here and excited to have a great chat.
So we spent a little bit of time together today. You were instructing our own community just a few hours ago, and the feedback we got was incredible, man. You are an amazing teacher, and as we look at the content that you're creating across your channels, that's kind of the main theme, right? You are literally teaching as you go and sharing success stories, and people are just flocking to you. How's that feel?
Yeah, it's a surreal feeling because it's a space that I don't have any formal training or background in. I studied finance, like you mentioned. So people see me as this expert in AI and automation, which I've positioned myself to be at this stage. But where I started from, it's a very interesting story and it's a very unlikely path. But I do like sharing it because it shows that
I'd
you can
love to
really
hear it.
just manifest and transform yourself into anything you want to be.
Love it, man. Let's dive into that. So, how did this become who you are and what you're known for?
Yeah, so we can jump into it. So my background is in finance. I went to school, not knowing what I wanted to do. I knew I wanted to make money. I wanted to be successful. So finance was the logical route. But what I soon found out going to business school is it really wasn't for me. I did internships at the bank. I did all the case competitions and the studies, and I thought it's what I wanted. But after that, I realized, it's a trap essentially. Like you're gonna get in there, you have to work up the ladder, you have to pay your dues, and it's not something that excited me. A lot of my friends were very excited to jump into that, but I knew that they weren't going to be fulfilled and happy with what they were going to end up doing. A lot of them are realizing that now, but I think I had the foresight to see, I want to do something different. I want to be an entrepreneur, and that's something that's always been ingrained in me all my life. In school, starting businesses, doing e-com, just creating random stuff, selling candies. I used to sell PDFs of textbooks, just for
Wow.
fun, just because I love the thrill of being an entrepreneur and getting sales and all of that. So that's always stayed with me. Out of college, I had the opportunity to get into tech sales. So there's a lot of startups. It was like the tech boom is like just pre-COVID. So a lot of tech companies were popping up. And I really wanted to learn sales because if you want to be an entrepreneur, sales is the backbone of everything. If you can sell, then you'll always be okay. So I joined some startups. I worked with them, worked my way up, went from a sales rep to an account executive, started being a sales manager, worked my way up for a couple of years. And I loved sales. I thought that's everything that I was going to be. I was going to work my way up to an enterprise rep and have a very good living. But the idea of being an entrepreneur was always there. It was like, can I get that freedom? Can I live the life that I want? And so then I came across an ad for a software called Go High Level. So this was maybe in, I think, 2022. So the way that the ad was basically sold to me was they were saying you can take this existing software, you can white label it as your own, put your own name, your own branding on it, and resell it to the market as if it was yours. So right now, I was selling software for someone else, getting a small percentage of commission for doing that. So for me, this sounded like a no-brainer. I get my own software, I can sell 100% of it and keep everything, right? So that was like, I was like, if there's ever going to be a side hustle or a program that I can get into, this is it. There's probably nothing better for me out there. Like I can sell software and this is the software I can sell. So I jumped straight into that. I started learning everything I could about this software. And then locally in Toronto, that's what I was doing. It was this all-in-one CRM. It was a SaaS product. People loved it. So I was selling it to local businesses around me. Then what happened is the start of 2023. So that's when ChatGPT came out. So there was this big ruckus and this big boom about AI is here. Check out this ChatGPT thing. But again, going back, I don't have a technical background. So AI didn't interest me that much. So I played around with it. I made some funny jokes with it, whatever. But then what happened is my existing SaaS clients would bring it to me and they'd bring it up and they'd say, "Hey, have you seen this new ChatGPT thing? What is this all about? I'd love to, hear about it." Because they thought I was a techie, but I was like, I don't know what this is. It's not my domain. I'd go find somebody else. But then I realized that the demand was so great. They just kept coming about it. I kept reading the news and I was like, okay, there is something seriously here. So I spent some time just learning everything I could about ChatGPT, playing around with it every day, learning prompt engineering, how do these LLMs work, and really just understanding what's going on in the back end. Then the ideas came to me that there are business applications to using this as well. It's great to just, have fun with it, make you do your homework, but it can talk to customers, it can take over personas, it can create you content. And I think I was one of the first people to have that realization. So what I did is I started making those implementations directly for my clients. I was like, I can build you a chatbot. There's an API attached to ChatGPT. I have this CRM. I'll just connect them together. So I was, probably one of the first people to build a chatbot, and I just kept doing that. I kept applying AI to the SaaS, and then eventually that was going really well. I noticed from my clients that this is the only thing that they really like. This is the one thing that's making the most difference. It's the most revenue generating for them, and it's all that they want, and it's extremely sticky as well. So I made the conscious decision to be like, okay, I'm going all in on AI and automation, and the SaaS stuff can take a back seat. So then, basically, I've rebranded myself as an agency. I was doing that locally in Toronto, but obviously there's limitations to scale. Then I started creating content. So my idea was obviously just create content, show people what I'm doing, because it is, quite interesting. No one was doing this at the time. So I started sharing what I'm building, these chatbots, how I'm using ChatGPT, AI, this kind of stuff. I didn't expect anything of it. I just expected other business owners to maybe find it, DM me and saying, hey, this is pretty cool. Can I use it? But what I didn't expect is the overnight virality of entrepreneurs, people who wanted to get started in this space, messaging me saying, how did you build this chatbot? I want to learn how to do this myself. I want to sell this to a business near me, this and that. So there was so much demand from regular people who are like, teach me how to do this. And then initially, I was like, this is not what I do. I'm not a teacher. I'm not a coach. I'm just trying to get more clients. But what ended up happening is the demand was so great. I was like, there is something seriously here. I've done something that people don't know how to do and they want to learn how to do it. So I was like, I need somewhere to send all this traffic. So then I had the idea of creating a community because I was a part of some others. So I found school.com, which I just happened to hear about this tool. I created the first school community for AI and automation. I was just sending all my traffic there. There was no intention to monetize it or build any coaching or anything like that. It was just, you guys want to learn something here. I'm hosting some videos there. Go check it out. So then I was just funneling all my traffic. The videos were doing extremely well. And then the community kept blowing up and blowing up. And then eventually we scaled to where we are today, where it's like I'm just all the traffic went there. The agency's running now pretty much on autopilot. And eventually people coming into the community were like, eventually where it gets to a scale where it's like I can't work with everybody. So it's like, okay, hey, I want to pay you for your time. Can you please do a one-on-one with me? And then I realized my time is quite valuable too, and it's also scarce. So then I had to start charging for my hours and charging for programs and making tiers. And all of this just eventually morphed into like a coaching program, but never with the intention to do that. It was really just help people. And then when I couldn't help any more people, I had to kind of tier it and segment it that way. So today we run a pretty successful education coaching company. We run a massive school community and we run the agency side as well. So that's where we are today
Wow.
and how we got here.
Incredible. And we're talking less than 2 years. So really 18 months that
Yeah.
this journey has taken you through. And just I've got a couple of your numbers here behind my screen. One of your latest videos, just literally talking through a very simple home services automation, has done nearly 1 million views on Instagram. That's incredible. Did you ever expect that something that is just simply walking through how a business owner can automate different areas of their life would get up to 1 million views on a single platform?
It never occurred to me ever. What I thought I was creating was something so niche and specific, talking to like one specific archetype that I didn't know that it applied to such a broad and wide audience. And then
Yeah.
I think I realized that, the power of social media is that you get exposed to things that maybe aren't for you, but then you get an interest into, and the net is quite wide. And I was meeting people from all over the world. I was getting comments and DMs from people I would never think I would ever connect with. And everybody was relating on this one simple thing. It was very cool.
That's amazing, and it's not a fluke either. So, guys, as I'll drop the link in to Hamza's situation here, but and of course you can go across to school.com/automate to be part of the community there with Hamza. But we'll make sure all the links are there. Not a fluke. So that one particular video that I'm referencing, 988,000 views as I'm talking right now, but the next one, 400,000 views. The next one, 400,000 views. All of these videos are in the hundreds of thousands of views. And again, this is just on one platform. So again, when we look across at YouTube, there's also incredible view counts over there. So your methodology is obviously resonating with people, Hamza. And one of the things that we talked about in our masterclass session just before we were recording our interview here, you were saying that you're very purposeful in the way that you create that content. Can you talk us through how that works? Like, what's your thought pattern in creating these amazing videos that people are just attracted to on a business level? It's not pranks. It's not typically viral stuff. It's business automation. So what's your thought pattern of putting this content together?
Yeah, absolutely. It's all done very intentionally. Of course, it didn't start that way. It started with me just doing trial and error, throwing things at the wall and seeing what hits. But eventually, if you do this for long enough, like I've been posting this exact same type of reel for maybe, yeah, close to 18 months, about a year and a half, very consistently. And the benefit of that, one, is you get very good growth, but the other benefit is you get a lot of data. You can look at the analytics and you can see which videos are performing well, which aren't, what is different about the ones that are. We do very deep analysis on the analytics to look at what is the hook time, the retention, where are the drop off points, how am I speaking during the drop off. So if there's any filler words or stutters or any gaps of silence, that is something that leads to lost attention and drop in engagement. So I know all these things psychologically because me myself, I'm also a consumer. When I'm watching a content creator and I notice that he's talking slower, he's not getting to the point, or he's wasting my time, or there's nothing captivating or interesting enough, I'll scroll. So using that same logic and being intentional with my consumption, I apply to my creation as well. So that's really helped me. And then just using all of the data and the metrics that we've had has made a massive difference. Now with the AI tools, I can plug in all those metrics and kind of have it optimize and give me outputs on what needs to be done. But the way that I speak, the enunciation I have, the speed, the tonality, all of that has been boiled down to a science where almost every video I have now sounds like a copy of itself because I'm using that exact same system. If you watch the like one of the older videos, I'm talking very differently. And now I've got it down to a T, but I'm still experimenting. And I'm experimenting in a way that you wouldn't notice or the audience wouldn't notice. They're like these little micro experiments that only
Wow.
I will, and I'm keeping track of them. And if this one hits and if this one goes viral, I keep a note of that. So the next one has it. So, people don't realize what goes into the back end of making this.
I'm
People think
fascinated
it's
by
it's
that.
very
Yeah, I
simple.
really, I think that's amazing. I was listening to Stephen Barrett talking about running an amazing podcasting series, and of course, he had a podcast studio where he was asking guests to come in. This is the author of the Diary of a CEO.
Diary
That's
of a
what it is.
CEO.
Just
Yeah.
yeah, turning around to read it from my stand there. One of the things he said was there are optimizations that he made running a podcast that not everybody would see. And he gave the example of researching the favorite music of the guest that was coming in and playing that in the background when the guest came through to thing. And he said nobody's ever mentioned it, but he's sure that this is just a touch that is able to be done very minor. So when you're talking about now optimizing this content, and I'm fascinated by the fact that you've dialed this down to a science, what kind of things are you testing in the background? What kind of tiny tweaks are you making to make sure that you're continuously improving that content?
Yeah, so it's very granular. So for example, like if you see the content and I'm using the whiteboard, the color of the marker that I'm using, that actually has an impact. So I tried yellow, blue, green, purple, and we landed on red. The videos that have me using a red marker just outperform significantly. Like that's something
Wow.
I've tested extensively. The font that we've used inside of the videos, the way that I speak. So I edit the audio sometimes. I make my voice deeper, make my voice higher. I see which one do people respond better to. For the call to action, sometimes I put it earlier in the video, sometimes I put it later. How many comments do we get as a result of that? So there's these little things, and they just come to me as ideas and inspiration. I'm like, I wonder if this would make a difference, and then I test it out. Testing is the only way you'll find out. People analyze all day, all day offline, right? They just think and think, but I'm all about testing. Just get it out there, get the market feedback, get the algorithm feedback, and optimize accordingly. I think you can't
Amazing.
plan too much. You just have to try it.
So do you create the same video and then make those tiny changes? So you create a video, raise the voice, lower the voice, see which one performs better?
Yeah, so what's interesting about my content, I mentioned it on the masterclass, is when I was looking at my analytics, I found that 70 to 80% of the viewers of my reels are are non-followers, meaning that they're a new audience, people who haven't seen my content before. So
Yeah.
knowing that fact, I got a lot more comfortable with kind of repeating a lot of my content to try this new testing method, because if people, haven't seen it before, it doesn't matter. I could repost the same thing with slight tweaks and it hits just as well. So that the algorithm has really favored me in that way because it's exposing me to a new audience. If I was someone who had, 20% new followers and my followers were the bulk of my views, I couldn't get away with just posting the same stuff again. A lot of them would get fatigued or annoyed or whatever that is. So I'm fortunate in that way, and I took advantage of that. As soon as I found that
Yeah.
metric out, I was like, I'm going all in on this.
Wow, that's cool. Hormozy said you'll get bored of your content long before 10% of your audience even hears it. So you have that buffer to be able to just
Yeah.
continually educate and educate and educate, which is fascinating. So dialing this into a science, and again, I love this. I've done so many interviews with influencers, and the message has been clear from the best of the best of the best that it's intent and it's never just by accident. You might have a viral hit. Rachel Peterson was talking about the video that did 5 million views where she fell off something and whatever. That's not duplicatable unless you're moving in that space, but you've dialed it into a science which I absolutely find fascinating, and the work that goes behind it. So how's that changed your daily life now, Hamza, as somebody who's come from that building automations background? How much of your time now is spent building automations and doing client success stuff versus being a content creator and pulling that big lever for the business?
Yeah, so that's a great question. Someone asked me that the other day, but really my day has changed a lot from when I started. And in some ways I'm sad about that because the whole reason I got into this and when I fell in love with ChatGPT and prompting, the happiest I was when I was just building, locked away, talking to robots all day, testing stuff out, breaking things. Like I really enjoyed what I did in the early days because it was just me, my clients, and building projects. Now, of course, as the content started doing well and the communities came out and the coaching came to it, I had to step away from a lot of the groundwork and the building portion of it. Now, like fast forward to today, I have not built an automation in so long. I've got a team under me, so we have about 20 people in different capacities. I have even more than that in terms of developers who work on our projects. But for me personally, like I miss out on like trying out the latest tools or messing around with what's happening right now. So a lot of me is like kind of upset about that, I don't have the time to do it. But my day to day now is more of like a CEO, like in terms of an executive, just making decisions. People come to me and say, "Hey, we need to do this, or there's a problem here. How should I, manage this?" So a lot of it is decision making, delegation, which I'm fortunate to do because if I didn't have a team, I wouldn't be able to pull this off at the scale that it's going. But content creation for me is something which, it's a priority always. Like no matter what, I get my reels out because the reels are the lifeline of my business, the fuel that
Right.
fires everything else that I have. If the content ever stops, then, I get stuck in where I am right now, but the content allows me to grow. So it's always been a priority for me. For me, it's about setting up a right system. So one day for scripting, one day for editing, one day for, just actually producing and creating. Now, I've started to bring in a team as well. So we have people who are handling the reels and the YouTube side of it, so they can just give me ideas and script it, so we can be an even more efficient machine. So my time can be highly leveraged on just creating as much as I can, running webinars, doing events, speaking engagements like this. So that's where we're headed.
Amazing. So we met almost a year and a half ago, I think, over in Dallas when you were actually receiving an award for the platform that you mentioned just a few moments ago, High Level. And High Level is an incredible entrepreneurial platform where anybody can grab hold of that and create a business of their own. We run it ourselves. One of the things that struck me there was that you had been nominated, or you actually were receiving the award, which puts you into the top five, not 5%, but the top five people with high level in the world. You are one of five people who have the Platinum Award there. And when we spoke, you were as surprised as anyone. And you were telling me that your staff at the time was you in your bedroom with a laptop and your sister who was working with you. And these days, 18 months later, first of all, the Platinum Award with High Level is something that has demonstrated incredible ability to build a sustainable business behind you. But now, as you mentioned, you've got a team, you've got people who are working with you, you're acting as a CEO, and that ramp has happened really, really quickly. how did you go about bringing that team together? When did you realize you needed to? How did you bring that team behind you so that you could then focus on the bigger picture of being Hamza Automates out in the world?
Yeah. Yeah, so that was a big step for me. Like delegation for me has always been difficult. I think that's why I waited till the absolute last minute where it's like we're at the ceiling now and it's time to go. But just myself, I mean, I've always been very self-reliant from building this from the ground up. I tried to find like partners and friends and a co-founder to do this with me, but no one was interested. So I really had to figure everything out, the sales side, the building, the business management, everything, right? So I kind of morphed myself into a person and like I only rely on myself. So it got to a point where like I was like, this is how I'm going to run it. It was really at the summit when I was receiving the award, which I didn't even know that that was a big deal when I got there. But I was talking to the other platinum winners and the other award winners, and they were telling me about how they got to the same position. And all of them had teams under them, and they've been doing this for years. And I was like, what the hell is going on? Like, how am I here amongst all of these people with big established organizations? And then it allowed me to kind of reflect on myself. And I'm like, the position I'm at now, I think it does make sense. And I think that's the necessary next step for me to get to diamond, which is the level above that, to actually just reinvest into myself. So fortunately, being in the position I am, I do get a lot of inbound talent who's just interested in working with me and they make themselves known in one way or the other. So before I would kind of just shut it off and be like, I can handle everything. But after that, my mentality shifted, and I was like, if I want to play with the big dogs and if I want to get to the next level, there's no way I can do this on my own. So that's when I just opened up my mind. I started interviewing talent, and they made themselves known. Like a lot of great people were in my DMs. They were doing free work for me, and I didn't even realize they were sending me Loom videos. Here's what I built for you, Hamza. I'm proving my expertise to you, my competence. And I was like, wow, there's people out there who would love the opportunity to work on this rocket ship that I'm building. And then I would just give people a chance, bring them on board. They were truly competent. I was very impressed with a lot of people that I brought on. And I was like, I should have done this sooner. I think genuinely, if I did this sooner, I could have won Diamond when we were meeting back last year.
So
But
is that
now,
is that
now
locked in for
thankfully,
this year?
yeah. We got
Locked in.
that.
Nice. I like that. Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Yeah,
Great. Absolutely.
yeah. That's all
Wow.
good. So the diamond's done, but again, it wouldn't have been possible if I had not made that step to delegate. And I think that more of it was just a self-reflection journey of kind of just letting go, putting trust in others. And if things go wrong, that's my job to manage it, take accountability, figure it out. But there's no other way to do this. I was doing like 16-hour days to win that platinum award. It was, and as soon as I woke up to when I went to bed, support, management, business, content, everything. So now, thankfully, I live a far more relaxed life, but I'm still very excited to keep pushing.
I love it. So two follow-up questions there. Number one is, how big is the team now? How many people have you got working with you?
Yes, so last time I made an org chart, I think it was about 20 people that I have under me. Now they're not full-time employees or, people
Sure.
in different capacities who help out with whatever they need. My only full-time employee is still my sister. She's my VP, head of operations, manages
Nice.
everything. She's been there since the early days. So she makes everything happen run on the back end. And then we have salespeople now. We have developers that work under us. So I'm very fortunate that because I'm running these training programs, I'm basically creating amazing developers and builders who I can bring directly into my agency. So I've created my own training programs, which is great, and I hire directly from my own students. And then we have salespeople. I've got obviously accountant, HR management, all the legal stuff, which is great. And then just marketing. Marketing is very important now. So I've reinvested a lot into my personal brand. I mentioned that on the masterclass. But for me the next step for me is to position myself more as an authority, as an expert. Like it's great to be the go high level guy and the expert, but AI is big enough for someone to truly make a massive wave in that. And I think what I've done so far is great, but taking it to the next level, spreading my message globally, sharing what's possible with all these tools. You have to invest into your personal brand. You have to be looked at as an authority and a respected figure. So that's
Mm.
what we're investing into, and then just marketing. I have a YouTube team, Instagram team, and a fantastic email marketing team. So yeah, we're building that out, and it's super exciting.
Amazing. So the second follow-up question there was to get to running a team of 20, and again, inside of 18 months, there's brand new skills, there's brand new attributes that you would have needed to learn rapidly to scale and to build and to lead that team. Where are you learning from? Where are you picking up those skills from? Like, what's your methodology to the growth?
Yeah, I mean, it's not the best answer because I'm not someone who has ever, or I don't know why, but I don't really invest in mentors or coaches. I've never done it. I don't know why. Everything I've ever done is just like I figured it out on my own. I think that's one of the really good skills I have is whenever I'm faced with something, I'll just figure it out and then just if something goes wrong, I'll adapt to it and I'll just keep improving. So even the management side of it, I mean, it's something that maybe I'm not the best at. I'm not really learning from anybody, but it's just I just go through it day by day and I've made mistakes and I understand how they work and I adapt accordingly. I think for me, it's not like just being told something and then you just do it. It's like I have to experience it, I have to learn, I have to feel the pain of the mistake, and then the message and the lesson really sits with me. So I think I don't really spend time watching videos or watching mentors or coaches. It's like I just need to figure this out for myself. And maybe that's the slower path to get there, but it's the right path for me because it's going to turn me
Yeah,
into the person that I want to be. And so far
clearly
it's
it's
worked really
working.
well. Yeah. Yeah, it's worked. So until it stops, then I'm not gonna mess with it. But yeah, that's how it's going.
Amazing. So you're figuring the management and the leadership stuff out as you go, which, as I said, clearly it's working for you. What about the tech side, the learning side from a new applications? Obviously, being part of AI and automations and being a leading figure in that sort of space, there is new stuff every day. Are you absorbing content? How is that coming across your desk?
Yeah, so I consume my own content. So I mean, I'm not the kind of entrepreneur who's like no phone, all focus and stuff. So I do consume content. Like I mentioned, I try to do it intentionally, where it's like,
Mm,
I'm not falling into the trap and just mindlessly doing it. So I'm trying to absorb what I'm learning and why I'm doing that. I've also got a great team. So because of my team underneath me who are also very passionate about this, they'll bring it to my desk and hey, have you heard about this or check this out? This is relevant to you. The other thing we also do is within my communities, we also do masterminds and news sessions. So weekly, we'll do a session where we collate the last week's news and we'll talk about why it's relevant, what's coming out, what's good for us, how to sell it, how to make money from it. So that's part of our ecosystem. And I think a lot of our members jump on those calls just to learn because
yeah.
they get overwhelmed. They're like, I don't know who to follow, what to read, what newsletter to subscribe to. So I just say, come to us. We'll cut out all the noise. Just listen to what we say. So I have that built into my ecosystem. I just get it spoon fed. I don't have the time to kind of figure
Nice.
it out
So your
myself.
team's doing that research, bringing it to you, you're presenting it or absorbing the
Yeah,
best bits and pushing it forward. That's
exactly. Yeah,
fantastic.
yeah.
Yeah, really cool. So the school community for you, and again, we'll make sure that it's in the notes there, but it's school with a K, SKOOL.com/automate, which is an amazing URL. The school community for you is where the majority of your, I guess, sharing and knowledge really is given out to the community, right? So are you in that space a lot of your day? Are you actively working inside of that school community?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like people are surprised how active I am, like given everything that's going on. But I'm literally there personally answering all my DMs every single day. Like someone
Wow,
who's not even paying anything for any of my programs inside of a free community. If you send me a DM, there's a chance you're gonna get an answer within 24 to 48 hours. Obviously, the priority
amazing.
goes to others, but like I'm there on the trenches in the ground. If somebody needs a call and they're like on a lowest tier of my coaching program, and I have time, I'll do it. So like a lot of this for me isn't all like just money based. It's like this is my community, this is my ecosystem. I'm responsible for people in there. A lot of people put their trust in my education and the support that I give them, and I don't take that lightly. I get messages every day of, I'm able to support my family based on this new business model, or I can pay my way through college. So I get these things, and they mean a lot to me. It's not something I would take lightly, and that's where I just invest all of my time because it's the most rewarding and fulfilling thing for me. So yeah, absolutely. The free community. If anyone
Incredible.
wants to DM me, I'm in there.
Jump into school to do so. So, and again, we'll make sure that the links in the show notes. So, Hamza, this community, this following, this incredible influence that you have now, we keep talking about how quickly it's happened. And for anybody that is listening, I think it's inspiring that 18 months ago, 2 years ago max, those follower numbers were single figures. We're talking the rapid rise. If you lost everything tomorrow, as in the accounts got shut down, you lost that traction, could you rebuild the kind of following that you have now by following a similar path?
Yeah, I think the ability and the way that I could do that is just from the learnings I've had from algorithm science and understanding the social medias, because that can apply to anything. So even if I don't do this specific type of videos, if I started from a fresh account, using the same logics about, hooks and engagement and retention capturing and different ways of editing, I'm pretty sure I could figure out a different type of style of reels and to get that back on track because I understand what people want to see. I understand what I want to see. I kind of make content for myself, and I think that applies to other people. I said this
Mm,
in the mastermind as well, but I'm like, when you're creating content, the first test and judge should be, would I watch my own content? And for a lot
yeah.
of people, the answer is no. Genuinely, your content is not something you'd watch, and you have to be honest about yourself that it's not up to scratch and it's not good enough. So for me, I'm very harsh. I'm like, if I'll watch it, I'll be like, yeah, I started there, or there's a gap there, or it's a silence, or I could have said that word clearer. Like I'm very harsh with it. And the final product you see is after like 30 iterations of me saying that same word 50 times. Like you should see my blooper reel. It's like I'm literally saying the same word a million times. So that the logic or the point I'm saying there is that I could apply that to anything, and I'm pretty sure I could build it up. The great thing about AI is that it gives us endless content. If some new tool comes out that's different to what we've seen before, I will jump on that and I will make content about it, and the content will do well. I was one of the first people, I think I was the first person to make a tutorial on YouTube about making a chatbot with DeepSeek. I think 6 hours after it dropped and after it was the biggest hype thing in the world. I was like, this is going to be crazy. So I figured it out and I made a video about it and it got like 200,000 views on YouTube. So, I mean, that's just an example, right? Like, I think I figured this stuff out. And I think if it was to happen, I'll figure it out too.
Nice. So for the people who are listening, they maybe have followers already, or they're thinking about creating that content and building that brand behind themselves. Again, thinking about those people starting from where you were 2 years ago, starting from those zero follower accounts, what would be your first five like go-to moves? All right, I'm going to do this. I want to create something. I need to build that brand. How would you go about reconstructing that brand and that following?
Yeah, so I mean, I'd break it down into what do you know, what is your expertise, and what have you achieved and done. I don't think everybody should be making content. I think only people who have things worth making content about should be making content. Like if I
Mm,
started making content before I created an agency, then this wouldn't have worked. Like I had to go through the agency to build the products, get the results to be able to showcase and talk about them. So I think a lot of people will maybe try the fake it till you make it type thing, but I I truly believe that people can see through that and it reflects in your content in the way that you speak. So, I mean, first is reflect on what have you actually done, because that's the only thing that you can talk about. I like talking from experience. When you see my content, it's never, and my tutorials, it's never, this is the right way to do it. This is the only way to do it. It's just, this is what I've done. This is what works for me. It's very open and it's me very nonchalantly just sharing information. It's never like shoving anything down someone's throat or forcing them, right? So, if you can talk confidently about what you've done and showcase that in a unique way, and that's the second key part, is you have to find a unique way to deliver information. It can't be you with a talking head just talking about something that, people have said before. Unless you're saying a combination of words that people have never heard before, and it's like a very unique shower thought sentence, it's not going to go viral. It's not going to get attention. So you then have to find a different medium of display. Like for example, I was one of the first people to incorporate these flowcharts, Miro diagrams into mainstream content. And that for me worked really well because I that's how I explain things anyway. So whether for you, if you have some sort of medium that works, whether it's a whiteboard or something interesting, right? I think find ways to stand out and just imagine somebody scrolling their reels and they come across yours. Is it going to stop them in their tracks? Are they going to be like, oh, I haven't seen something like this before. This is interesting. This is new. Or they're going to be like, that's another talking head video, right? So be unique. Talk about something that you've actually done. Reflect on your achievements, and if you don't have achievements, that's fine as well. But then go out to the world and do something. The other thing which I find important, if you want to kind of mimic what I've done, and I was very intentional about this, is that I did to some extent do the fake it till you make it type thing, where I was creating content about some of the work and the projects that I've done, but I never alluded to, I'm smaller than I am. It was never, here's day zero of making 10K in a month. Like ever showcasing that I was, on the ground level or I was struggling or I was ever having a tough time with business, which is fine. I mean, people like to be raw and share their journeys. But for me, it was like I always wanted to be seen as someone who is, very competent and expert, somebody who's made it. So I was only showing the wins and the successes. So I had a very curated feed, which was intentional because of the goals that I had. I wanted people to see me as an authority so they would come want to work with me. It's very unlikely you're going to get an inbound B2B client if you're saying, I made $200 sale today on my journey to 10K. I hope I can make a sale tomorrow. Like you're just showing that you might be lower value than the business themselves. So I was very intentional with that. I wouldn't recommend anyone starting a business channel to go that route to do the documenting type thing because unless your goal is only to be an influencer and not be an authority, then you can go that route. But if you want to be an authority, do the fake it, almost fake it till you make it route. But that I don't mean lie, I don't mean deceive, but I mean, just curate your image in a very intentional way.
Yeah,
Yeah,
nice. I
so
like
I'd
it.
share
I
that.
like it. So the word influencer, to have influence over others, we listed off some of the numbers there and some of the platforms and views that your content's getting. How has the spotlight of that attention affected you personally?
I think it's given me a lot more confidence. I think when I was starting out, it was something that I lacked. Of course, I didn't have a technical background. The main objection that people who come into my ecosystem say is, I'm not technical. Is this right for me? Can I do this? And I think me just going through all of this, me having people reach out to me on a daily basis, thanking me for what I've done, it's of course like, you'd be crazy not to let that kind of influence who you are, give you confidence, give you a bigger than life personality. So I've noticed transformations in me personally. And I also understand that it's a responsibility. Like there's a lot of people that depend on me and the systems that I've made, and they rely on that. So you carry a lot of weight with you, and that can lead to a lot of highs. It can lead to a lot of lows if something goes down, if there's issues, or people want refunds, or if there's, I've had legal disputes as well based on issues that have happened, right? So there's a lot of responsibility that comes with it, and I think it's made me a very strong and stoic person because if you have all these highs and lows, and you become numb to it, and you can kind of control your emotions. So I've had a lot of spiritual and personal development through this journey as well. I think I'm speaking to a lot of other influencers as well. That's what it does to you. It changes you as a person, and it's very interesting from like a psychological perspective. It's also warped my like perception of like time. Like I see time very differently, just as a business owner as well. But the scarcity of it and how to protect your time and your focus and things like that. So it morphs you into like this superhuman almost. Like it's very interesting. I'm very happy and glad I went this route to become an influencer. Because me, without all of this, if I was just a pure agency owner, I think it would be like a shell of what I am today. And it's given
Mm.
me this amazing personality, which I'm very proud of, like coming on this podcast and just being able to share my story, giving guest speaking engagements and things like that. This is what being an influencer has done. It's done wonders for my confidence, putting myself in front of cameras, speaking, making relationships. So it's definitely made a massive difference.
Amazing, and opened some incredible doors. I know that you were mentioning you're working now with Tai Lopez. You're working with some other pretty big names out there as well. Those opportunities, have they been cultivated by you, or have they come as a result of the content that you've been putting out?
As a result of the content I'm putting out. So I get a lot of inbound engagement and interest from a lot of bigger players, a lot of people like Tai Lopez who reached out to me asking me to create a course for his new automation program. So things like that happen as a result of content. When you put yourself out there and you genuinely do a great job, you don't gatekeep, and you have valuable content, the right people, it'll make its way to the right people and open up so many doors and opportunities for you. Like I could never imagine waking up to a DM from Tai Lopez, saying, "Hey, come on the podcast, come meet me in Beverly Hills." So things like that, that's what content can do because it puts you on the map. Once you're on the map, then you're a player in the game, and now all the pieces are going to move around you. So yeah, it's fantastic. It's great.
Amazing, I love it. And being on the map, being a player in the game, being somebody there, that's I think there's a lot of people that are going to be listening and saying, yeah, but that's okay for you, Hamza. You've got that, you've got that charisma, you've got that background. As you said, having that confidence has come as a result of simply going through the motions that you needed to. For the people who are listening there said, yeah, but I don't know what to post, or I'm really shy, or I don't know how to get this game started. How would you coach the person through those sort of roadblocks?
Yeah, I mean, so one, I'd recommend obviously working through that because that's a personal thing that, depends on the mindset and the person themselves. So first priority is if you can get through that, by all means, please try to do that, whether that's forcing yourself to create content, maybe putting yourself through a sales job. So sales is really what helped me get out of my shell, be able to speak to people, understand how to enunciate. And, like if you're on a cold call, you've got like 10 seconds to get somebody's attention, hook them in. You can't stutter, you can't mess up. So these kind of things I learned from sales jobs and at call centers and things. So I would recommend that if anyone's looking for like a career path to build confidence, even if it's a part-time sales job. but really just work on your public speaking. I went to workshops, I went to engagements. I really invested into getting to a level where, I could speak like this and on content and stuff. But really, the nothing really can be a substitute for putting a camera up in front of your face and just talking, like just powering through that. My first video was nothing like this. And if you go back on my Instagram and you go to my oldest videos on TikTok, actually, I started on TikTok. So if you go to my first TikToks, you will see that it was nothing like this. A lot of stutters, mistakes, redos, repeats, and things like that. So we all start from somewhere. And then the only reason I'm here now is that I didn't give up. I think
Right.
people always give up right before they hit it or they're about to get that milestone of improvement. I never gave up. It was never like even something that crossed my mind. It was like, this is going to work. It's just how long is it going to take and just relentlessly moving towards that. But to answer your question as well, I mean, if someone really isn't willing to put in the work and they just do not want to, put their face out there, that's still not an excuse anymore. Like for my content, for the first 8 months, majority of my content was faceless. I got away
Mhm.
with not even putting my face on content. I get recognized now by my voice because of how much I just put an emphasis on that. But if your content is truly valuable enough and the medium you're delivering it on is truly interesting enough, you can get away with no face, no personality, a pure faceless channel. But then everything else has to carry the weight. If you've got a nice personality and everything else, then you can kind of carry that burden. The other thing is now there's AI avatars that you can use. You can either clone yourself or you can even pick a third party influencer to speak on your behalf. So there's no issue or there's no excuse to not make content anymore. I think before we didn't have these options, but now it's like you should be making content if there's something to make content about using any of these mediums.
I love it. Super cool. So, guys, I would love for you to come and check out Hamza's channels. Literally, have a look at the way a professional influencer is building the brand that is then driving the business. So, of course, we mentioned the link before, school.com/automate. I'll make sure you've got links to your Instagram and TikToks there as well, Hamza. And as we move forward, so there's two components to being an influencer. The first is building that audience, and the second is monetizing that audience. We like to run what we call the monetization minute. What's the best way for you to describe making money from that influence in 60 seconds or less? Like, what's the monetization minute coming from you?
Yeah, so there's typical monetization ways where it's okay, pure coaching or digital products or offers, and it's kind of just imposed into their face. But the way that I went about it initially is that you don't make them feel like they're being sold to, because I did not want to sell to my audience. I was very scared to taint my image of all this free value that I was giving. So I wanted it to feel like, hey, Hamza's my friend and he's just helping me, work on my business or get this started. So I went the affiliate route. So affiliate marketing allows you to do that because now you're putting the sales pitch and the onus on some other business, and you're simply just a friend who's giving you a recommendation on what needs to be done. You make your money on the back end as an affiliate from that company, but from your followers perspective, you're not charging them for anything. So everything from their perspective was Hamza's giving us all this free value, all this goodwill that I've built up. We're paying Go high level, but on the back, I was making my money. So there's this amazing win-win relationship that I did not taint my image, and I was making money on the back end. Everybody was happy. So if that is the route you want to go to and you want to maintain that impression of yourself, then affiliate marketing is the best way to do it. If you want to be aggressive and make a lot of money up front and you don't care too much about your image, then digital products, coaching, just putting things out there, selling offers, you can make a lot of money monetizing that audience. The second and the newest way now is the communities, monetizing communities like school, for example. That is a fantastic way to gatekeep or put a paywall against access to you while people don't feel like, they understand that, yes, I need to pay for access. So a lot of them are not angry that they had to pay to enter a community. And once they're inside, they're very happy to continue keeping for that access. So those are the ways to do it. I think community and affiliate marketing is the easiest and the most passive route. And then offers is like if you want to scale hard and make a lot of money quickly, then create some sort of great coaching offer for yourself.
Fantastic, fantastic. So, guys, this is again. I mentioned the word professional, purposeful building of a brand, intention-based influence, and it's such a pleasure to see you architect this, Hamza. You've literally created a system that is duplicatable. Somebody can follow the same thought patterns. They're never going to be Hamza. They're never going to be able to create the same content that you're creating. But the mechanisms that you've put in place to create that content is absolutely spellbinding, man. And I applaud you for it. So, guys, this is Hamza Baig. He is known as the founder of Hamza Automates. He will be available at school.com/automate. hamza.com/automate. I think you've got the academy as well, Hamza, is that right? Automate Academy.
Yeah, yeah, the Automation Institute.
Perfect. Awesome. So again, we'll make sure that there's links there for you guys to follow along. For no other reason than to see a professional at work. Come and follow along with Hamza as his journey and his explosive growth of following who are looking of people who are looking for opportunity, looking to grow their own brands and businesses. You'll find all of those like-minded individuals right inside of Hamza's community as he leads the way, showing us exactly how to build an intentional following and an intentional brand by leading the charge there. Hamza, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate everything that you're doing inside of that community and sharing along the way. It's helping so many people. So from my side of things, thank you for doing so, and thank you for jumping on with us today as well.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure. Thank you for having me, and enjoy, everyone. I look forward to meeting you.
Cheers.